Sanskrityam naram chaiva narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam tato jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Muttama Shloke Bhaktirabhavati Naishtati Dhanraj Bhagavati Srimad Bhagavatam very important shloka here where is about the vision of omnipresent Lord. Krishna is present everywhere. So how do you understand the presence of Lord everywhere? And understand the distinction between ritualistic worship and realization of super. So what we are learning today is very important concept, which helps us to understand how important it is not only to recognize the deities but also recognize the presence of Krishna within each and every living entity around us. So that is mentioned here in this shloka. So that is the core message by Kapiladev to Mata Devati. So here is the shloka. Kapiladev says to Mata Devati, Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santam atmanam ishvaram hitva charam bhajate maudhyad Basmani eva juhoshisa. So here, in this, Lord is saying to Mata Devati that, what is the translation? Can you read that?
One who worships the deity of Godhead in the temple but does not know that the Supreme Lord is Paramatma situated in every human being's heart must be in ignorance.
Such worship
is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes rather than fire.
So Kapiladev is saying to Mata Devati, one worships the deity of the Godhead in a temple but does not know that Krishna as a Paramatma is in everybody's heart. Must be in the ignorance. And when the one does such worship but does not respect Krishna within the heart, this is like offering the oblations into ashes rather than the fire. What does that mean? When you offer oblations into the ashes, it does not create any fire. It is useless. So here it says, Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu. Mam means me. Me means Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all living entities. So it says, I am in every living entity as a Ishwaram. I am as a Ishwaran. Hitva Hitvar cham bhajate maudhyad. But hitva means disregard. One disregards that Supreme Lord's present in everybody's heart. And in ignorance, he does that. Then it is like Basmani. Basmani means ashes. It is as good as putting the ashes into like offering the oblations into ashes, which is useless. So this is a very, very important thing here Kapila Dev is saying to Mata Devati. So Lord's presence is in every living entity. So we'll read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So here by purport by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, you can read the purport.
God is present in all living entities. The living entities have uh,
8,400,000.
8,400,000 different kinds of bodies, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is living in every body who possesses the individual soul.
Super soul. So here Krishna is present as a every living entity. Krishna's presence is there in everybody. And how many? There are 8.4 million, 8, 8.4 million species of life. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead lives in everybody, from the smallest microbe to the most complex human, both as a individual soul and the super soul. So to ignore this presence while professing religion, to remain in mode of ignorance, right? So one should not do that. Huh? Go ahead.
Since
Since
the individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, in that sense, the Lord is living in every body. And as super soul, the Lord is also present as a witness.
so he is there, everybody, and he's also there as a witness. So we should be very careful when we deal with other living entities.
In both cases, the presence of God in every living entity is essential. Therefore, people who profess to belong to some religious sect but who do not feel the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living entity and everywhere else is the mode of ignorance.
So this is very important that we should recognize this, that those who are professed to be this, but then the Krishna is present in two forms. One is the individual soul, living entities, part and parcel of Lord, residing within the body as a experience of the material nature. Krishna, Atma is also expansion of Krishna. And then Paramatma, super soul. Super soul is a Paramatma. The Lord stays as a witness and guide and observing the activity of every soul, right? So this is called omnipresence. Realizing the God means feeling his presence, not just in temple, but everywhere and everyone. This is very, very important. So those who are religionists, those who profess to be Krishna conscious, they should start recognizing that Krishna is there in the temple also, and he's there outside also. This is very important. So here Srila Prabhupada compares that.
Therefore,
If without,
without this preliminary knowledge of the Lord's omnipresence, one simply attaches himself to the rituals in a temple, church, or mosque. It is as if he were offering butter into ashes rather than fire.
go ahead.
One offers sacrifices by pouring clarified butter into fire and chanting Vedic mantras. But even if there are Vedic mantras and all conditions are favorable, if the clarified butter is poured on ashes, then such a sacrifice will be useless.
So here Srila Prabhupada is saying that without this preliminary knowledge that Krishna is present everywhere, one simply attaches oneself to the rituals in the temple or church or mosque. It is as if we are offering the butter into the ashes rather than the fire. Here, this person is offering butter or ghee into the fire. So is it useful? Yes. But if you add the same ghee into the ashes, what is the use? Right? So here, Prabhupada is saying, how useless that butter, clarified butter or ghee into the fire, standard with the sacrifice. However, that butter is poured into the ashes. It is useless. Similarly, in temple rituals of purify, for ignorance and presence in increase. Compassion is fire. Take the ritual. What Prabhupada is saying. So, offer sacrifice by pouring the plant to the fire and chanting mantras. Any other verse?
who cannot define living entity, we must know that in every living entity, how even in an ant, God is present. Therefore, every living entity should not be treated and should not be subject to God.
Hmm. So every entity should be treated. That's a kindness. Alright. So here Srila Prabhupada made universal division. Our devotion should not ignore any living entity, whether it is an animal, human. God is present in their heart. Every living entity should be kindly treated and should not be subjected to unnecessary violence or neglect, right? You see, uh, others' pain should be treated as our own pain. Suppose you are suffering, it is as good as my suffering because you are here. So everybody's suffering should be considered as our own. We should not neglect anybody. That is the message Srila Prabhupada is giving here. In modern civilized society,
Slaughterhouses are regularly maintained and supported by certain type of religious ritual. But without knowledge of the presence of God in every living entity, any so-called advancement of human civilization, either spiritual or material, is to be understood as being in the mode of evil.
you see, in the modern society, there are some religious societies, some people, they maintain slaughterhouses, they kill the animals in the name of religion. This is called as mode of ignorance, tamoguna. So every religion should recognize that you should be criticizing. So what is that? Institutionalized violence. Modern slaughterhouses supported by religious principles or the sense of total spiritual ignorance. These are pseudo religions. What does that mean? Rituals without the knowledge of omnipresence. They are mere material advancement devoid of true spirit. So, any civilization that supports animal killing while claiming spiritual growth is fundamentally flawed. You see? So, this is very, very important that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here that such type of religions are bogus, flawed religions. So, because one has to worship God in the temple or a church or a mosque, that is important. But at the same time, if you are killing animals, that is not real religion. Because one has to recognize that Krishna is there in the heart of every living entity, right? Here it says, without knowledge of the presence of God in every living entity, any so-called advancement of human civilization, either spiritual or material, is to be understood to be as a in the mode of ignorance. That is Srila Prabhupada is saying here, right? So where do we find divinity? It is there everywhere, actually, right? So we have to look for Krishna everywhere. Every living entity has Krishna there. Otherwise, we will be losing the battle. Here is the thing. Here, Krishna is there. We begin the worship as an act of devotion offered in the sacred places, but then what if our object of worship is not confined to the altar? What if the temple itself is everywhere? Which is what she Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu shantam atmanam ishwaram hitvacharam bhajate maudhyat basmani eva juhotiyat. One who worships the deity of God had in the temples but does not know that Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated in every living entity's heart must be in a ignorance and compared to the one who offers oblation. So there is Krishna in everybody's heart. You see that heart? Light, that is Krishna. And Krishna is there in 8,400,000 type of species. So we should try to identify Krishna everywhere. Like see, there's the individual soul and there's the super soul. Every living entity has this too. So to profess a spiritual path, but not feel this spiritual presence is to act from the Mode of ignorance, maudhyad. Here you see, action performed in ignorance is like offering the sacred oblation into the fire, but not into the ashes, but into the ashes, right? So, oblations is your devotion, our energy, and our love, and the fire is the true knowledge, the living universal presence of divine, and ashes are ritual empty of understanding. So, here is the true worship, understanding. What is that? True worship, then it is not act we perform, it is the awareness we cultivate. The devotee must know that every living entity, however insignificant, there is Krishna there, right? So even a small ant, Krishna is there. We should respect that one. Therefore, every living being should be treated with kindness and should not be subjected to violence or neglect. This is also very important. Neglect or respect. Any society that ignores this, regardless of rituals, remains in ignorance. This is the last message. See the divine in all beings. Let the entire world become your temple. Is that correct? Every living entity has to be respected. So this is the summary of the today's session. What do you think? How was it? You like the message?
Easy to understand, difficult to realize.
Realize it. That's why you have to chant Krishna's name all the time. If you really want to realize, then keep on chanting. When you chant, which reminds you, oh, Krishna is there everywhere. You get the point? That's why Satatam Kirtayantam Mam Yatantascha Tadvata. You have to chant Krishna's name, then only you will realize